Good morning. I'm coming to you from Sacramento at the home of Echo, my favorite grand dog. Yesterday, Emily and I went out on the Pelagic trip out of Monterey. Went through the Monterey. I think we went about 20 miles out, they said. But it was rocking and rolling, so when you watch the video, you might need your Dramamine. But we saw a lot of good birds. Hopefully I caught a few of them. A few other little extras in there besides. A lot of sea life out there. So thanks for watching. Enjoy.
This will be our boat. I wonder if it's big enough. Sea lions in the marina. The calm water is deceiving. These look like Pacific loons in winter plumage, based on the head shape and the black band around the throat. This red-footed booby has been hanging around the Monterey Fisherman's Wharf for at least a month. It's far north of its typical tropical range. I have seen them in Puerto Rico, and I've read reports of them in the Channel Islands on occasion, but for them to be this far north is quite unusual. Sorry for the wiggling on this kingfisher, but the boat is getting underway. I'm still getting used to the motion. Brandt's cormorants fishing in the harbor. Looks like the one is pretty good at it. Cormorants, sea lions, gulls on the jetty. I have a feeling it's about to get rough. There was one lone sea otter relaxing near the jetty as well. Western gulls, a common dark-mantled gull species of the West. Large, although not quite as large as the great black-backed gulls out east. Okay, now we're getting into it. Hope you took your Dramamine. Some of these shots could make you dizzy. I did my best, but it was a bumpy ride. Sooty shearwaters, the most common ones we see. Look for the dark birds with the silvery underwings as they fly. There are a few other birds besides the sooty shearwaters in this clip, but it will be difficult for me to point them out specifically. I mainly included this clip to give you a feel for the choppiness of the ride and to give you a feel for how many birds we might see at one time. The birds with the white undersides in this clip are pink-footed shearwaters. The large soaring bird in these clips is a black-footed albatross. I'll have some clips of him sitting on the water later on. Of course, you should always be ready for a surprise or two. I hope you enjoyed that humpback whale lunge feeding. I know I did. Shearwaters and albatrosses weren't the only things catching fish that day. A closer view of two black-footed albatross being harassed by an immature western gull. The gulls with the distinctive wing patterns here are Sabin's gulls. A little bit of everything in this clip. Besides the Sabin's gulls and the black-footed albatross, the young western gull is hanging around, and a sea lion even makes a brief appearance. The small birds, like murres and auklets, were difficult to video with the motion of the boat and waves. Here's a photo of a few of the murres we saw. This is another clip with a little variety. I see sooty and pink-footed shearwaters. I see Sabin's gulls. Some of the heavier birds are Jaegers. There's even a sea lion, again, popping up for a brief moment. More shearwaters. Hopefully you can focus on these a little better. Notice all the whitecaps. The boat went out as far as 20 miles. Seems strange to see whitecaps out that far. At one point, we came across a pair of humpback whales putting on quite a show. I was unable to capture it, but I saw one reach completely out of the water. Amazing. Someone took a photograph of the tail fluke, and the captain was able to determine quickly from an online site that whale had been seen in Nicaragua and off Mexico previously. It had first been seen in 1991, so it was over 30 years old. One of the humpbacks performed a fair amount of fin slapping. I looked up this behavior, and opinions ranged from feeding to mating behavior. I can't be sure which, but it was interesting to watch. One of the fascinating creatures we sometimes see on pelagic trips is the ocean sunfish, also known as a mola mola. They often lie on their side on the surface. Sometimes gulls or other birds come down and pick parasites off them. This particular mola mola seemed to be about 6 feet in diameter, quite large, and he seemed determined to try to swim under the boat. The captain had to be very careful to get away from it. Because the seas were so rough, I'm thinking it would be a good idea to add some pictures from some other trips where we could focus a little more easily. This is a Cassin's auklet, which is a little smaller than a robin. You can imagine how difficult that would be to photograph in a bouncing boat. This is a rhinoceros auklet, just a little bit bigger than a Cassin's auklet. You can see the little horn that gives it its name just behind its bill. These are sooty shearwaters, dark birds with the silvery underwing. Sooties can be abundant off California, but they nest far south, near Australia and southern South America. Pink-footed shearwaters are slightly larger than the sooties, have lighter underparts and a lighter colored bill. I only saw a few Buller's shearwaters that day. I think they're pretty, especially the pattern on their back. All three Jaeger species were called out, parasitic, Pomeranian, and long-tailed, but I missed the long-tailed. Here are photos of some parasitic Jaegers. Pomeranian Jaegers are a little bigger than the parasitic Jaegers and are heavier bodied. They remind me of hawks. They also have spoon-shaped tails when the tail feathers aren't damaged. I only see Sabin's gulls on these pelagic trips. They're a seagoing gull. Their wings are beautiful with the black and white pattern, and they have black heads. The videos and pics of the black-footed albatross showed pretty well, but I thought I'd add this one with a fully soaring bird in flight, just to give you a good idea of how long their wingspan is. 80 inches. We saw a few more birds that I'm not showing you pictures of, like these migrating phalaropes from another year, or black and ashy storm petrels. Storm petrels are hard enough on a smooth day, much less a choppy day. Emily and I really enjoyed this trip. I hope you get a feel for how things can be out of Monterey on a choppy day. Most night trips out of there have been a little smoother. If you did enjoy this video, please click the like button. You can also subscribe and get notifications when I upload more. Of course, I'd love it if you purchased one of my books online as well. Thanks again.